Hey, Algebra 1 students, this lesson is for 7-4, factoring polynomials using GCF. In case you forgot what GCF is. Oh, by the way, this is page 21 in your note packet. GCF, you might remember, stands for greatest common factor. Okay, I want you to turn to, if you need to write that down, pause the video. I want you to turn to page 22. Top of page 22 is example 1. So this is page 22. Okay, the first step when we're factoring using greatest common factor is to find greatest common factors of our numbers. So this is just practice. This is what our problems will look like down here. But if we're finding the greatest common factors of 9 and 36, the first step is to list all the factors of 9 and all the factors of 36. So to find these factors, you can use your calculator, you can use a multiplication chart, whatever you need to do. But for these examples and for this video, you can just copy those down. Those are the factors, all the numbers that multiply to give you 36, all the numbers that multiply to give you 9. Now we want to find the greatest common factor. So common factors, I see, would be 1, because there's 1 in both of these columns. I also notice there's a 3 in both of these columns. And I notice there's a 9 in both. So those are all common factors. You want the biggest one. The greatest common factor is 9. All right, let's try another one. 16 and 24. So factors of 16 are 1 times 16, 2 times 8, 4 times 4. Again, if you need to pause the video to take these notes, do that. Factors of 24 are 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, and 4 times 6. Okay, so common factors. I'm going to find those in pencil. 1, 2, 4, 8, and that is it. So out of that list of common factors, 8 is the biggest. So 8 is the greatest common factor. All right, now let's see how we're going to use that in a problem. I'm going to do example 2, part A. I will probably do part B and C in another video. So part A, I am factoring this. So I'm going to start by showing you what your answer is going to look like. And then I'm going to show you how we get it. So this is factored form. If I gave you this and asked you to do distributive property, you would get this for your answer. So we're doing the opposite. We're starting with this, and you need to find the two factors, in this case a monomial times a binomial, that is equivalent to this binomial. All right, your first step is going to be finding your greatest common factor. So of each of these terms, I want to find the greatest common factor. So I want to start with the numbers, 6 and 3. So the factors of 6 are 1 and 6, and 2 and 3. The factors of 3 are just 1 and 3. So the common factor in these two lists is the 3. So if I'm putting my greatest common factor up here, I'm going to say I have a 3. Now, if you look at these two terms, they both also have the variable x. So they have some number of x's in common. This right here is 3 times 1x. This right here, 6x squared, means it has 2 x's. And then actually go ahead and write this 6 as 2 times 3 so you can see that 3, which is part of your common factor. So this term has 2 x's, this term has 1x. So you can think both of these terms have 1x. So that's also part of your greatest common factor. So this is your greatest common factor. You can see it right here. This is one of our factors that are going to be in our answer. If we're doing the box, we're going to put our original problem in the box, and we have to find the outside of the box. So right here is where our GCF will go. So we're going to put our 3x to the first power right there. We have to find that other binomial up here. If you have a binomial here, you're going to have a binomial here. This is a plus, so go ahead and put a plus right there. So factoring out is the same as dividing. So you can think I'm taking this 6x squared, which I've written as 2 times 3x and x. That's the same as 6x squared. And I'm dividing by a 3x. So you can think if I'm dividing this by a 3, I'm taking out a 3. If I'm dividing by an x, I'm taking out an x. And what is left over? A 2 and an x. So that goes right there. If you're taking this term and you're dividing out a 3x, you're dividing out a 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. You're dividing out an x. X divided by x is 1. So what you have left here is a 1. Now if you check this, when I multiply this 3x times this 2x, I need to get 6x squared. If I do, then I did this correctly. So I'm going to put my invisible exponent here. So 3 times 2 is 6. X to the 1 times x to the 1 is x squared. So that looks good. Whatever's on the outside should multiply to get me what's on the inside. So that looks good. Now this 1 times the 3x, when I multiply those, I should get 3x, and I do. So then I know those are my factors. So factored form is this. So that's your answer, and it is equivalent to what you started with. If you did distributive property on this, you would get that. Okay, if you need to pause the video, make sure all this is in your notes, and we'll do the next example in the next video.